first 30 years on earth, you learn so many things that will help you to enter into the second phase of your life. And the second phase of your life is what we call the achievement period. That's career period. That's when you begin to work, build, marry. That's when you begin to, raise your children. That's when you begin to, enter into investment, enter into so many things that will, guarantee the last 30 years of your life. And from 60 onwards is the retirement or departure period. That's when all these structures are put in place and all these things are yielding results. That's when your knees begin to give up. That's when you prepare yourself to retire, because you've passed through the educational period into maturity. You come to the career or building life season, that is 30 and beyond. When you get into that stage above 60, you don't struggle. If you follow that principle, you will never struggle, because you go and meet all your effort, you meet it at the latter part. So therefore, if you are not able to go through this routine and go through this structure, and you jump some of the stairs, you miss certain things, because during your learning period you make so many mistakes, and per experience you correct yourself and you make amends, make a U-turn and take another path. You learn your lessons. So sometimes if a child is growing or a toddler is growing, and it doesn't matter how much the mom or the dad loves that child, if you don't take off your hands from that child and allow that child to make a step, fall and rise again, the knees of that child will never be strong enough for that child to walk the path of life. Because life consists of rising and falling and into maturity, and that's how life has been patterned. So there are certain principles and there are certain formulas in life that we cannot bypass it, and we cannot leave those behind. To get to a certain stage that we want to be. I believe that all of us sitting down here this afternoon, this morning, we are aspired into greatness. All of us, we have dreams. All of us, we have something that we are working towards. If you are into life and there is no object and there is no a dream or vision that you are working towards, then I will tell you that your 8-hour and your 40-hour contract per week contract that you are doing, is just vanity. There's nothing coming out of it. There should be a target, there should be a vision, there should be something which is far above you that you are working towards it progressively. Day in and day out, you make a step closer to that. Every day you work yourself towards that vision and towards that thing that you've projected ahead of you. Life is about projection. Tomorrow is not here, but we have already projected ourselves into tomorrow. Based on that, structures are being put in place. The way we think, the way we see things, our views and other things, based on the structures and based on the projections, we have already entered into our tomorrow. Anybody who live and wait until you walk into tomorrow, you will never enter into rest, and you will never enter into your Canaan. And this is the reason why Bible says that the leaders of Israel, they sent spies to go ahead of them to spy the land. So therefore you can go ahead of yourself and spy your future. If you are able to spy the future, you will see the landscape, you will see the structures, you will see how 2040 will be, and you will see how 2050 will be, you will see how 2030 will be. If you can go ahead of yourself as a spy and spy your own life and your own future, it will help you and shape your views and shape your attitude, so that you walk according to the precept and walk according to, the mappings of your life. It is very, very important. So last week when we came, I took my time to share this message with you. That when all goes well with you, remember God. Remember God. When all goes well with you, remember God. You see, I believe strongly in my spirit, according to the word of God, that we should be closer, more closer to the promised land than what we are seeing and than where we are. I believe we should be more closer than what we are experiencing at the moment. But you see, when you leave certain gaps and certain space, when you are not able to go according to the precept and the schedules of Jehovah, how life has been scheduled, you make 10 steps forward, or you make 1 step forward but 10 steps backward. In fact, some of us, we are making a journey of backwardness. The journey of life is supposed to take us forward. It should go forward the other way. But it seems our life is on a reverse gear. The more we put our foot down, the more we are going backward. The reason is, when you force a square peg into a round hole, the effort that you put into it and the resources that you waste on that, it takes you years. It will take you years. Let me say this, permit me to say this. You see, the reason why God allowed them to make a journey of 3 days into 40 years, it's not because God wanted them to grow, or he wanted the young ones to grow into adulthood before they get there. No, they miss certain things that they ought to do along the way. So therefore God came to himself and said, if I allow it to go on like this, they will even get to the promised land. They will see the milk, they will see honey, they will see all the bread and the manna, but yet they will not appreciate it. So I need to find ways and means to grind them and allow them to circulate until that thing comes, or until they come back to the original position and the original place to reset themselves, so that their mind will be reset, their attitude will reset, and their focus will be reset. That's why God has permitted them and allowed them to travel 40 years for a whole generation to be wiped out, for a new generation to come with different perspective and different mentality. Because when we miss our steps and we miss how the process is supposed to go, God will always consistently reset us. Instead of us to get to a certain stage by this time, God will bring us to the period of resetting again, so that we will carry on again and we will restart the whole thing again. Because some of us, our beginning was God. Our foundations are God. Now, the psalmist out of Revelation said that when the foundation is broken, when the foundation that the whole structure is standing on, that foundation is not firm, that structure can never be solid, and the structure can never stand the test of time. Some of us, we are a product of the altar of Jehovah. We are a product of miracle. We are a product of prophecy. Some of us, without the emergence of the grace of God, we will not be here by this time. So we can never forfeit the altar, and we can never forfeit the God factor of our lives or in our lives. It will make the journey slow, or it will not make the journey living for us, because we have abandoned our foundation and we have forfeited our foundation, and it makes it very difficult for us to get to where we want to be. Can I hear amen here? Praise the Lord. When all goes well with you, remember the Lord. Remember the Lord. Remember the Lord. You see, the school of life has taught us to understand that human beings, we easily forget. We are quick to make promises, but we easily forget. We are very quick to make commitments, but we are not smart, to remember those commitments. And this is one of the things which is practically affecting us and eating into our future and our present. In fact, in the worldly structure, in the dark world, let me put it this way, they have certain things that certain protocols that they go through. When you go and consult a deity, any deity, African deity or voodoo deity or whatever deity it is, when you go to consult them, the first thing they do is they demand your commitment. They will make you to make a vow, or they will push you to make a vow. Tie yourself to a vow. And the vows that you make, that vows will tie you to their goals, and that vows will tie you to their spirit. I've heard of people, and I know people that at the end of each year, if they're not able to go back to their village and go back to their hometown, they need to send money for them to go buy goats and sheep and other things for them to go and pacify and renew the covenant of that altar. The funny thing is that if you forget 1 year or one season, they will kill you. They will eliminate you. Some of them, they went there to ask them for the fruit of the womb. Some of them, they went there to ask them to give them the grace and the power to travel outside their home country. Some of them, they went there to ask them for money. I know, and I've heard stories that some of us, our great grandparents, they went to consult deity for the deity to help them to have a fertile ground and a fertile land for their cocoa farm, for their harvest season. And the gods did it, but they were not able to go back and thank them. Some of them were giving pots. Some of them were giving some small shrines. Some of them were giving certain objects for them to keep for the family. And as time goes on, they should perform certain rituals and do certain things about it so that they can renew the covenant. But when the first generation died, nobody even remembered to go and renew those covenants. And even though we confess, even though we dance, even though we do so many things, but those things are playing against us, because when all things goes well with us, we don't remember. We don't remember. That you see, we have the notion and the understanding that God is a good God and God is a kind God. Oh yes, that's his attribute and that is his character. But you see, God will not play that role, or he will not do like what the deities are doing. But you see, when the foundation is not solid, when your protection and your security is no more, you will become naked. I read from the book, the New Testament, and I got to understand that there was a young man who was from Judah, who was from Jerusalem, and this man made a decision to travel from Judah in Bethlehem and go to Jericho. I'm talking about the Good Samaritan. Bible says why he was making that journey. In the middle of the journey, when he started the journey, he was okay. When he was making every effort to get to the destination, the guy had hopes, he had visions, he had revelations that when I go to UK, everything will be okay. When I marry, when I get that job, when I buy that car, when I get my resident permit, everything will be okay. The beginning of the journey from Judah to Jericho is always awesome. It's always awesome. Church, the beginning is not always a problem. I've come to understand that that's how it works. At the beginning beginning has a struggle. Every beginning, even from aircraft to anything that we can talk about, the beginning taking off is not an easy job. It's not an easy job. But there's always a hand, and there's always a factor that gives you the momentum to take off. You see, the way you take off determines the way you land. If you step the wrong foot first, you definitely slip. The young man made a decision that I am leaving Judah, Jerusalem, and I'm going to Jericho. The Bible says while he was in the middle of his journey, midlife crisis, problems. While he was in the middle of the journey, Bible said the robbers came and attacked him. You know our background. When armed robber comes to attack you, you know how they do it. They will take your possession from you, your mobile phone, your wallet, and money, your suitcase, your luggages, everything. The robbers will make sure that they take everything from you. But this time, the robbers did not do it that way. The man was leaving Jerusalem, the seat of Jehovah, the foundation. The man was leaving Judah, where God is known. That young man was leaving, the presence of the Lord. He forgot God, and he was making that journey on his own. I believe that when he descended the hill of Zion, coming down towards Jericho, he had a fantastic vision that when I go to the UK, when I arrive, when I graduate, when I do this and when I do that, this is how I'm going to live. I'm going to live large. I'm going to do this. He had visions, but between Judah and Jericho, something occurred. And it's bound to happen in life. Between your Judah and your Jericho, things are bound to happen. That's why you have to remember God and take God with you. There's a story I saw on social media. There's this young lady, Brazilian lady, who she was going out with friends. They packed themselves in a car, and they were playing music very loud. Then the man came and stood by the car and said, take God with you. Even though you are going out with your friends, but take God with you. The man gave that young girl Bible. He said, take God with you. The girl said, oh mom, the seats are full. I don't have space for the Bible. So she got down, took the Bible and put the Bible in the boot. And while they were traveling from the mother's house to their destination, in between, they had a crash. Everything in the car got burned, including them. But when they opened the boot, the Bible was still lying down untouched. Not the cover, not just one sheet of that Bible. When all goes well with you, remember God. Some of us, the strugglings and the problems we are having is that the way we began, that's not how, in the middle of the journey, that's not how we don't even hold on to that faith again. We don't have that taste and that tenacity again. When you are living Judah, it's so exciting, it's so powerful. But understand that between Judah and Jericho, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anytime I have the privilege to dedicate a baby, I look at their beginning, how tender, how soft they are, how naive they are. Then project yourself into the next 20 years. In a school or in a class full of students, 50 students, everyone is a potential president, and everyone is also a potential prisoner. Among the 50 students sitting under one teacher, writing one examination. Everyone is a potential rich success, but everyone is also a potential failure. Between the beginning and the end, in the middle, is always awkward. So please, let's keep the fire burning. Let's keep the momentum going. When all goes well with you, remember God. Don't let success, don't let resident permits, don't let anything, marriage, childbearing, don't let anything to take your focus. Don't let it take your focus. One of my friends, childhood friends, called me. The first thing he said last week, bro, the midlife crisis has hit me. And I told me, tell me your story. He started to narrate it. The beginning is always exciting. Living Judah is always exciting. But what you carry with you, don't leave Judah without taking Judah with you. Don't leave Jerusalem, the seat of Jehovah, without taking him along. In the middle of the journey, check the Bible, the New Testament. Bible says when Jesus and the disciples were crossing over to the other side, in the middle of the journey there was a storm. There were waves came and the wind blew. Sometimes it doesn't start from the beginning. In the middle, where you see distance from left, and you can see the horizon, that this is my destination. But in the middle, look at Titanic. When Titanic took off, from the beginning, everything was awesome. But when they got to the deeper, where they cannot see the light of the city again, their focus and their projection was to reach America. But in the middle of the journey, when all goes well with you, remember the Lord. I don't know why it has become the tendency of human beings. When things goes well with us, that is the period that we need God. When the Lord or life answer our prayer, that's when we need God, because every elevation of life in life attract different battles. You can start from the lightweight. If you are able to win lightweight, you need to go to bantamweight until you get to the heavyweight. And every stage of life will introduce you to another battle altogether. I don't know why, for some reason, when things begin to work out for us, that's when we forget God and we have excuses. I don't understand. I pray for the church that the revelations that the hand has had, we will have that same revelation, that the God who gives, it takes that same God to protect. I pray that the church will have that revelation. If God has produced it, understand that God can make what he has produced. He can make. It is God who gave that prophetic word to Hannah. So for God to turn Samuel to a prophet at that age, it was not a difficult thing for God. Because Hannah saw the revelation and he saw the secret. She saw the secret. A woman who had been coming to Shiloh year after year. I don't know how long it took her, but for God to answer her and give her one child. If it was, she made a vow, but she had every right to say, oh God, I said it, but I've changed my mind. Which a lot of people in our generation do. They do. I've seen pastors who are trained, who are equipped, who are called, but the moment they get to this place, most of them have become security officers, because they are here to make money. When all goes well with you, remember God. And I said, I only had one. You've only given me one. If I live somewhere in the house of God and go, I am the old Hannah again. People know that I've given birth, but I don't have a baby. My baby is not with me. But my baby is with God. The foundation is better and important. It's very important. Remember this. You can make a decision that I want to cross over. Crossing over is permitted, is allowed. You have the money, you have the resident permit, you have the British passport, you have the European passport, you have what it takes, you have the certificate, you have all the degrees that can cross you over. But listen, when you get to the middle of the storm, they got there. Peter was experienced, he was trained. All the guys, James, everyone was educated, they were part of Jesus. But when they got to the middle of their journey, when they were sinking, their experience, their money, their knowledge could not save them. They needed a God factor. He only spoke a word, and that word made that difference. When all goes well with you, stop giving excuses. Stop giving excuses. When all goes well with you, please remember God. Remember God. Remember God. Remember God. I was reading the Bible from I think from the book of Exodus chapter number 1 from 6 to 8. There's a story there I love. Exodus 1 6 to 8. Now Bible says that there was a man called Joseph. I mean, you know the story. He became a prime minister of Egypt. Then when you read further, Bible says that the generation of Joseph, all of them died. All of them died. The brothers from Reuben to Benjamin, including Joseph, they died. Then another Pharaoh came. When the Pharaoh came, Bible said that I don't know anybody called Joseph. There are certain generations who lack the capacity of remembrance. They don't remember their yesterday. They don't remember what happened to them last time. They don't remember how and where God met them. They don't remember. How can you become a Pharaoh, trained and raised in the palace to become the next leader, without knowing the customs and the traditions and history? How possible? How possible? But Pharaoh came and said, I don't know anybody called Joseph. So does it mean that the elders of Egypt could not educate that guy? That don't go there. But the guy said, I don't remember. We live in a generation that lack the capacity of remembrance. We don't remember things. We easily forget things. We easily forget our source. We easily forget our yesterday. We easily forget where we used to be. We easily forget where God met us, where grace located us. I don't know why. That's why this generation, we are not going far. We are not going far. Listen, in a generation, every generation that forgets, that does not remember, they lose track and they lose the capacity of continuation. They don't go far. They don't go far. If you don't remember the seed and the toils of your parents, of your father, of anybody who has played a major role in your life, you will never go past them. You will never go past them. I remember in the book of Kings, Bible says everywhere Elisha will go, Elisha will mention my father. In fact, from the day that he received the mantle, that was the way. He said, my father, my father. He maintained that status quo. And he followed the steps of the father. That's why he became greater than Elijah. When all goes well with you, remember the Lord. Remember the Lord. Don't easily forget things. A nation, a people, a community, a society without a beginning, who don't know their history, they lack the capacity to get to their destination. They lack the capacity. Some of us, I don't know whether we have that sense of arrival. The attitude of arrival is like, I've arrived. The precept and the foundation that has brought us this far, I don't know why we don't want to extend it to the current and the upcoming generation. The values, the discipline, character and the respect. Some of us, we have even forgotten about our roots. And this is one of the things that anytime I read scriptures, especially the Old Testament, I love it. The words of Joshua. Because you see, when God did that miracle and performed that strange act and took them out of Egypt to the promised land, most of the generation were not there. They were told. In fact, the Bible said there was an inscription. They wrote it bold so that they can read it and know that, hey, your ancestors were slaves in Egypt. And this is what God did. The God of Abraham took them out. So they wrote it bold for them to read and understand that they have history. They are coming from somewhere. I mean, they wrote it to extent that they will remember that any level that you are attaining in life, don't forget God. Because once upon a time you were slaves. Once upon a time, anybody who cannot stand and say that once upon a time I was like this, then you don't deserve to get to that destination that you are eyeing. One of the things I love about God is, you see, anything that God will tell you, He gives you the capacity to, see it, spy it. He did it with Joseph. What He wanted to do with Joseph, He gave it to him as a revelation through dreams. He saw it. So that you know the intentions of God, according to Jeremiah 29:11. You know the purposes and the intentions of God concerning you. So that every step that you are taking, you are going according to mapping. You are navigated. When all things goes well with you, remember the Lord. When you place any demand before God and He answers your cry according to what David said, please don't forget God. Don't forget God. That's not a done deal. That's just the beginning. I don't know why people ran away right from the beginning. God only opened the gate for you. Enter His gates. The moment the gate opens, you think that the door has opened. There's difference between gates and doors. I don't know why God will not catapult us into the bedroom. I told you He's a systematical God. He don't break protocols. God will not take you to His bedroom without taking you to the gate. But some of us, when we see the gate of God, we think we have arrived. That sense of arrival. The firstborn, God has given to you. Hey, you take the firstborn, you run away. But maybe God has invested or He has planned twins and more than what you are anticipating. And that was the sense of Hannah. Sister, if God can give me one, then He is capable to give me more. Listen, I've worked with God all these years and I've understood it from scriptures that you see, most of the first breakthroughs that God do in our life, you know what? It's a test of character. The first major breakthroughs that God normally do in our lives, He uses to test us for what is ahead of us. But we always have the sense of arrival. When all goes well with you, remember God. Joshua made it a point that, listen, there is a remnant, this generation coming, who were not there when we were in Egypt. So it is our responsibility to remind them that once upon a time, we were your great-grandfathers, your ancestors. Once upon a time, when you were back in Ghana and you were in primary school, even slippers you don't have not to wear. Once upon a time, you were, even where you were living, there was no electricity. Once upon a time, how to have even something called birthday, you had no idea. You sing the song without even knowing the meaning and the lines of the songs. Once upon a time, you wear a new thing when it is Christmas. Once upon a time, your school fees became a problem. The reason why most of you were not able to complete your secondary school, your university, your high school. The reason why you could not complete, there was no money. Poverty. So when all goes well with you, please control the baby for me. When all goes well with you, please remember God. Remember God. Remember Him. Remember Him. Well, one of the things that when I was going through this message, one of the things that God ministered to me so much is that, you see, there are so many untouched gold mines. There's so much untouched gold deposited somewhere that we were scheduled to get there at that time, at this specific time, but because of attitude, because of that sense of arrival, because we think that we've gotten it, or I don't know, some of them, they get their indefinite, their resident permit, they get just access to travel, and that is it. They think that God has finished with them, but it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. When all goes well with you, remember God. Have that sense of remembrance. One of the things that projected, anytime I talk about David, you know my soft spot for the king, David. Anytime I talk about him, anytime I get different revelation about him. You know what? When you check all the kings of Israel, and you check their record carefully, if we are going to grade them per perfection and excellence, David is the least and the worst. Is it not David who slept with Bathsheba, Uriah's wife? Is it not David whose son slept with David's daughter, incest in the same house? Is it not David whose son Absalom chased him out of town? Is it not David's son Absalom who slept with all David's concubines outside? So how can God we have major prophets, people like that. Look at how God took the life of Moses out of this earth. What did Moses do? What did he do? He told him to tap the rock so that water will come, and the guy hit it. God said, "Hey, enough is enough." That's all the guy, that man did. That's what that was his problem. But look at David. Look at David. Anytime he noticed that something has gone wrong between him and God, one of the things that God loves about David is that sense of remembrance. Right? Read the writings of David. He wrote something about God that God himself could not believe that it is him. The revelations he gave to God about himself, God was shocked. Is that me? That's why the Bible said that he is. The revelation David had about God, God himself had no idea. Even Jesus Christ, when he came, he never, went through that kind of attribute. But David wrote those kind of psalms about God. He remembered where God took him. So once upon a time I was a shepherd, but the Lord was my supreme shepherd. He said, I was wandering in the wilderness where I don't know how to feed and also give water to my sheep, but he led me to the quiet waters. He said, when I came to the wilderness where there was nothing to eat and also feed the sheep with, he said, he led me to the greener pastures. David, he narrated everything. So anytime God gets so angry about David will come and construct something about God. Then God will just Leave it. Abandon and just forgive David. But God could not do the same thing for the others. What's the secret? The spirit of remembrance. The spirit of remembrance. Please, don't think that we have arrived. Don't think that you've seen all. What is ahead of us is more than what we've discovered. The future is pregnant, and the future is untouched. But have that sense of remembrance. Every step of your life, remember God. Every level of your life, remember God. Don't ever think that you got that position because of your certificate. Then I will make reference to Joseph and the brothers. Joseph told them, God gave me this position so that I can preserve the family ahead of time, not per qualification, not per degree or British passport. So it is God who sends me ahead of you so that I can preserve the family. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. Please, we are in the period of gratitude, thanksgiving, remembering how far God has brought us. Have you sat down and look at your children growing around you? Have you come to the point that you open your wardrobe and you are confused to choose what color to match what color? Have you come to the point that you think that you need to give some of your clothes to charity? Have you come to that point? The look 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Some of us, we've passed through the season and the period that we call wash and wear. You wash the shirt and you need to hang around for that shirt to dry, for you to iron it and wear. You can't go out without it because you don't have extra. But today, look at your wardrobe. You have shirt that you've not even worn before. Look at your shoes. Every Sunday, especially Saturday, you need to take that shoe to shoemaker for them to adjust the shoe for you for Sunday. Oh, do you remember when you used to borrow somebody's shoe for occasions, events? But today, look at how you've lined your shoes. Any color you have them. When all goes well with you, remember God. It is He who gave us the ability to make wealth and gave us the ability to be where we are. Don't you ever make that mistake to take the place of God. Don't you ever make that mistake to think that you are here because you are here. Don't you ever do that. Always remember God. The last person I remember, he thought that he has become what he was Lot. When he parted from Abraham and Abraham gave him the fertile land, he forgot that Abraham himself is moving, surviving, and growing in the factor or in God's factor. So he thought that when he took it from Abraham, he would be able to maintain it. Abraham went on the other side, left Lot, to live in the greener pastures. The Bible said not only that he was living closer to Sodom and Gomorrah. When the wrath of God was coming, he took the same Abraham to stand in and intercede for Lot. You know the reason? Because God spoke to Abraham, chapter 12, but God did not speak to Lot. And Lot forgot that he has become what he has become because of God speaking to a man who became obedient. So the God factor was not there, the foundation was weak. When Abraham was living around Sodom and Gomorrah, God had nothing wrong or no circumstances or problem with Sodom and Gomorrah. But by the time Abraham parted, Sodom and Gomorrah became naked. And that was when the nakedness of Lot, were exposed. I told you about the prodigal son, and I've taught you about the good Samaritan, that young man who was leaving Judah to Jericho in the middle of the road. Church, most of us, we've come to the middle of the crossroad. Jeremiah 6:16, he said, ask for directions and ask for the ancient boundaries, ancient path, how they used to cross and how they used to move to the other side. Please, in all your searchings, in all you're doing in UK, don't be isolated without God, without acknowledging God, without Jesus as a factor in your life. Life is empty. There's nothing in the UK that will change you. When you arrive, your focus will be, I want paper. Let them give you all the papers. You come back to ground zero. Sometimes you don't even know that it has expired. Sometimes you don't even know I'm going to travel. You don't even have the money to travel with it. But when God plays a major role in your life, He gives you a reason, and He gives you the assurance, the audacity to leave. When all goes well with you, don't run away. When you go, you bring it back. The prodigal son took it. He thought that he has conquered the world. He went as far as he can go. Without the father's factor, he came back to the father. You can't go far. You can't go far. Please, I beseech you with the message of the Lord. Don't let life consume you. And take your focus, take your prime, take important things out of your life. If it happens that way, it makes you so empty. It makes you so empty. Parents here, listen to me. The adult, listen. I've said it and I'll always repeat myself. The children that we have, God has blessed us with, they are growing very fast. Very soon they will leave and they will settle somewhere and make their life. They're going to also have their own life, have their family, and do their own thing. My question is, when they leave, when the last one leaves home, what is there for you? How are you going to leave it? And how are you going to continue from there? When they are young, they look so beautiful, handsome, as if they have nowhere to go. But it takes Delilah to direct Samson towards the other side. It takes a job to shoot them to the other side. It takes a man or a woman, to take them to the other side. Then the emptiness will set in again. The vacuum will be created. When all goes well with you, remember God. When God gives you a child, remember Him. When God opens the door for you to get a job, remember Him. When you get your resident permit, remember Him. When you are able to buy a car, remember Him. Those days that you were chasing bus and train. When everything, begin to settle, remember, it might not be everything. It might be just the beginning of mighty things. God told me that there are a lot of us who have shut the door. We've shut the door for ourselves, thinking that we've gotten everything and God has made it. I'm here to bring you back to the basics, back to the foundation. And when the foundation is broken, what can the righteous do? Don't forget your God, and don't forget how you began and how you started. And he who has brought us this far, He has the capacity to take us to the expected end. The future is waiting for you. That future is still standing there waiting for you. It's like Canaan. It's just the Anakite sitting on it. But if you can be diligent, you can love God, the God of your fathers, He will take you to the promised land. And you arrive. And when you arrive, you know that indeed have arrived. When you are able to schedule things and plan things and push things in place, when you get there and they are falling back on you, you know that you fought the good fight, you've run the race, and you've structured things. It will work out for you. May God bless us, and may God use this message as a map, as a guideline for you, so that any step that you take this year into the new month, July, we will come back to this place in July, in the 7th month. When we are coming back here in the new month, you remember that it is God who has given us that new year. Next Sunday we are coming back here, to thank God. When we are coming, when we are leaving our house, before we even set out, we know why we are going to Silo and why we are going to thank God. Don't remember, when all goes well with you, remember God. God bless you.